Jimjara's story. Jimjara's story. As a crystal child of light, I received long time ago in the history of Crystallia the creation, the task of gathering stories from all over the universes, creating stories, writing and telling them and inspiring others with them. So it is my duty to share these special stories with anybody. There are so many special stories containing deep secrets and touching one's soul. When I was a young child, I always came up with the most beautiful stories, and everybody around me loved me for this gift. I lived on a barren planet, Trocton, where life was hard, but my stories brought a different kind of life that created lightness and a smile on people's faces. They brought back the magic in everybody's daily life, and the stories regarding Kandu the creator made everybody thinking about him and being thankful for the life we had on our planet. Maybe because we all started to think more about Kandu, we stopped complaining about our planet. And because our inner magical feelings returned, the real magic took place. It was when I was older, when I started to write each individual story down, that the entire planet changed into something really magical. I was traveling a lot at that time, and each morning after waking up, something would have magically appeared and standing on the spot where I had been writing the story the day before. In a way, the story became alive, and the area became like the environment described in the story. And this ranged from the most magical flower and herb gardens, fruit orchards, forests, meadows, farmlands, lakes, rivers, wells, fountains, hills, small villages, labyrinths, magical fairs, and theaters. And in addition, each area with its story environment surrounded itself with a section of a palace. Later I figured that the story had chosen its environment. This was truly magical, but there was more, because at the moment you enter that particular space, the story became alive with the environment, animals and people, and you became even part of the story. Imagine everybody who had lived a hard life in that area where I wrote the story, and now was drawn to its palace, where there was food and water, and of course, real magic. Our life changed completely, not only because I saw what happened, but everybody asked me to keep the magic going. Keep writing, Jim. Soon after, everybody called me Jimjara, but I have no idea why they gave me this name. I stayed for a while in one area, and after some time a complete palace with magical gardens, and around it forests and other environments had created itself. At one particular moment in my life, after writing a story of a magical carpet, the magical carpet of course became alive and allowed me to travel to distant planets and galaxies. Everywhere I went, I listened to the stories of others and returning to my planet, where I wrote them down, and after a while, the entire planet became one big magical site of palaces. This was a moment in time when I thought my work was done, but the magic didn't stop there. The planet kept on growing from the inside, and there was always some barren place where I would sit down and wrote a new story. Many stories had deep hidden messages because they came from planets where the storytellers had difficulties because they were not allowed for political or religious reasons to share what they wanted to share. Other stories contained other secrets of life in order to live more harmoniously, but the messages were disguised inside the stories, because people in power didn't want that others knew the secrets of life, because then they had no power over those people anymore. Then there were many stories of individuals who expressed their inner experience in regards to their journey back to Kandu and the ocean of love. Then sometime later, my life changed again, because I became a magical travel agent. I kept traveling on my magical carpet through the shadow world, telling stories everywhere, and when I would find individuals open to become more aware about the secrets of life, I gave them a password and the inside of a secret door through which they could call upon me and travel to my special planet. When somebody calls upon me, I am there to pick them up on my carpet or one of my co-workers called light carriers, and we travel to my planet, which is now called Fairytale Palace Planet. My entire planet became the place or archives for old stories. Now, the entire planet has many magical kingdoms with palaces, magical forests and mountains of indescribable beauty. Each palace, garden, village, forest and mountain is now the home of a particular story. And while the amount of stories kept growing, so did the planet, with more palaces, gardens and forests. It is the most magical place you can imagine. Here, every rock, wall, palace room, fountain, garden, tree, plant, river, lake, orchard, forest, hill and mountain, all is alive and has a face or personality, so to speak, and of course connected to a story. Visitors from all over the universe enter my world by invitation only, and nobody ever forgets this magical place. Everybody returns to their home planet with a heart full of fantasy, imagination and magic. It is a special place for children who can go on a treasure hunt to find particular stories. They have to find out the deeper meaning of the story, making drawings, or even create a theater performance expressing the stories, or writing rhymes about them. The power of fantasy, imagination and magic is a gift from Kandu, the creator, who wants us all to be and stay like children. Children have still that magic that adults while growing up slowly lose. Children are vital and have zest and do not want to sleep as they see adventure and play in everything. They are magic and creating magic around them. And the most important, they have like saint-like qualities. Keep looking at life through the eyes of a child, and life stays magical. In general, children are forced out of this stage, being a child and enjoying their magical world, because it all needs to make sense, and they need to be prepared for the real world. Quote, "If there is anything we wish to change in the child, we should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could better be changed in ourselves." Carl Gustav Jung. End of quote.